Almost. Major. Holy fucking shit, this is major! Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Almost Major, where we talk about the many major studios and the films they released. We are still on our 1980s New Line mini-series. My name is Kevin Tudor. I'm here with Bryden Doyle.
Hello.
And Charlie Nash.
Hello.
And joining us is a super special guest, the author of an Encyclopedia of Women's Wrestling. It is LaToya Ferguson. How are you?
I've been better before watching this movie, just so you know.
What? Hey, our initial thoughts are later in the podcast, so don't spoil it.
You were asking how I am. I'm just saying.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, if it makes you feel any better, both me and Charlie, and probably Bryden watched this like 2 days ago, and now I'm struggling to remember
any
what
of it.
happened.
Yeah.
So.
I won't follow up on that because that would be giving thoughts on the movie.
But yes, so thankful you were here because I've been going through that book and I love it so much, and it's just awesome to have somebody that knows about wrestling here. So I'm not just the only nerd here. But anyways, what we are talking about, No Holds Barred from 1989. This was released on June 2nd, 1989 at second place in 1,318 theaters. The budget for this was $8 million. Opening weekend did $4.9 million and overall gross of $16 million. Top 5 films that weekend are Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, No Holds Barred. So not that far off from Indiana Jones, folks. See No Evil, Hear No Evil, not the movie starring Kane from 2005, but yeah, Field of Dreams and Renegades, which we recently talked about on our Jack Shoulder episodes. Number one song in the U.S. this week is Forever Your Girl by Paula Abdul, and number one song in Canada this week is the greatest pop song of all time, Like a Prayer by Madonna. Hell yeah.
Is this the opening weekend of Last Crusade?
I don't know. I mean, it's either first or second, probably.
Can you imagine, couples must have ended. Relationships must have ended after seeing No Holds Barred. Like, someone had an argument at one point over seeing Last Crusade or No Holds Barred.
Which couples?
I don't know.
Children would want to see this, but...
Yeah. It was number 2. People were going crazy.
There are a lot of children.
The Hulkamania was running wild. What do you want? Plot description from Google. A TV network boss played by Kurt Fuller pits a wrestler named Zeus against a wrestler called Rip, played by Hulk Hogan, in a racial match. That's all Google says.
Yes, I got the Google description as well, and I was like, a racial match?
Yeah, I didn't.
Jesus.
That's not part of it.
I was paying attention as much as I could, and I was like, I didn't get that. I mean, it's not, the optics aren't good, but the actual TV executive was not like, yo, this is what I'm going to do. Written by Dennis Hacken. Prior to this, Bronco Billy in 1980, Heartbreak Ridge in 1986, and after this, story by credit for South of Heaven, West of Hell from 2000, which Dwight Yoakam directed. This is directed by Thomas J. Wright. Prior to this, Torchlight in 1984, which I watched while doing this outline. I watched it simply because the tagline is, she had one love, he had one secret, ... cocaine. This was a TV-ass, drug... you remember that episode of Saved by the Bell where they tried to get Kelly to smoke joint? That's pretty much that for an hour and a half. After this, directed 26 episodes of Millennium, 3 episodes of X-Files, and 1 episode of Freaky Links, hell yeah, and 2 episodes of Angel. LaToya, I didn't pull that up for you because I know you have your Angel pod. Also, I'm a huge Buffy fan, but as soon as I watched Buffy, I was like, all right, let me start up Angel. I got 2 episodes in, and I'm like, I'm Buffy'd out. I can't do this right now, but I need to go back and watch Angel.
You do? Along
with episodes of The Wire, Firefly, and Bones. Starring Hulk Hogan as Rip, which is the worst wrestler name. Prior to this, Rocky III in 1982. After this, Suburban Commando in 1991, Mr. Nanny in 1993, Santa with Muscles in 1996, and of course, Romeo and Juliet in 2011.
So he's the Hulk Hogan whisperer based on that filmography.
Yeah. I didn't watch any of those because I did not care.
I thought that was the director. That was Hulk Hogan's filmography, right? Never mind. Sorry.
That would be wild if he was just I'm hitching my wagon to this guy.
Hulk Hogan just held him at gunpoint from here on out. Yeah.
Do I have to do the third Three Ninjas? Yes.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to mention that Three Ninjas movie, the subtitle of which is High Noon at Mega Mountain. I've seen the movie. I forgot that subtitle. But in the While in No Holds Barred, Hulk Hogan makes one of the henchmen shit himself in Three Ninjas High Noon at Mega Mountain. He makes a kid piss himself, so he got both things.
It was in his contract. Yeah, you don't want to know what he has to do to children in Santa with muscles. But
and you're telling me that's not the same director based on both of those happening?
Yeah, under like the IMDb things, it's like Creditor's trademark or whatever. It's just that. Joan Severin as Samantha the same year and same weekend. She's in See No Evil, Hear No Evil. And Tommy Tiny Lister Jr. as Zeus. Prior to this, Blue City in 1986. Beverly Hills Cop 2 in 1987. After this, The Meteor Man in 1993. Of course, Friday in 1995. The Fifth Element in 1997. Wishmaster 2, The Evil Never Dies in 1999. I just had to mention that. But even a better movie, Little Nicky in 2000. And of course, The Dark Knight in 2008.
Yeah, isn't he the guy on the boat who tosses
He picks up the remote and then puts it back in the box. Yeah.
Or doesn't he toss it off the boat? Whatever.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Isn't
been a
he
while.
also in the Santeria video by Sublime?
Yeah.
Thought so.
He will. I love him as the president in Fifth Element, though. I was just like, when he showed up in this movie, I'm like, oh right, the president.
But you all remember that great part in Dark Knight where there's two boats. One of them might explode. I'm just like, who cares? Just get out of here, man.
Wait, even when you were like 15, you didn't care?
Oh, I was just like, go back to Joker. I don't care about these fucking boats. Also starring several that guys, Kurt Fuller, Mark Pellegrino, David Paymer, also Jesse Ventura and Mean Gene Okerlund pop up for like 5 seconds. Jesse Ventura looks surprised to be there, actually. Trivia. This was produced by Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon, only to be distributed by New Line Cinema after completion. When the first draft of the script was turned in, Hogan and McMahon disapproved of it, so they checked into a hotel and stayed up for 72 hours rewriting the script together. So don't say anything bad about the script. These men worked so hard. Hogan said in his memoir, no matter how hard we worked on the ending, we couldn't get it right, so I told Vince, the hell with it, I'm gonna go to the can. I was so tired that as soon as my ass hit the seat, my eyes closed and I started daydreaming. And in my daydream, the whole fight scene played out itself, and you know what? It was great. What's better trivia than that?
It's crazy that cocaine is not mentioned once in that book.
Yeah. No. They stayed up for 72 hours by just coffee. I don't know what you're talking about.
I wonder if the neighbors could hear anything during that time. If they were just like...
And also, like, how hard is it to make the ending of this movie?
They don't. This is a movie. You can tell that it's true that they wrote the script because this is a movie written by people who don't know how to write a movie.
I mean, yeah. Like, it's like, what do we do with this ending? We got the two guys fighting. What's gonna happen? I don't know, man. Yeah. We need 72 hours to fix this shit. To promote the movie, Tommy Lister Jr. was brought into the WWF as Zeus. He said he was angry about losing in the movie and that he could beat Hogan in real life. Since Vince McMahon knew that the movie was a bust and wouldn't sell on pay-per-view by itself, he sold the pay-per-view as No Holds Barred, the match/the movie, which included a steel cage match between Hogan and Brutus Beefcake versus Randy Savage and Zeus. Rumor has it that had the movie No Holds Barred had been a success, the main event for WrestleMania 6 would have been Hulk Hogan versus Zeus. It didn't... I mean, it was a budget of 8, it made 16. I mean, it wasn't a blockbuster of the year, but I feel like the reputation behind this movie is like, Jesus Christ, that movie made no money. But
Hollywood accounting, it broke even.
Oh yeah, during the filming there was a few accidents on set. Hulk Hogan accidentally broke Liston Jr.'s nose, and on another occasion cut his hand open on the glass shards from the broken mirrors. What were those mirrors being used for by chance? But yeah. Kurt Fuller said that, quote, there was a scene where Hulk is supposed to shove a check down my throat, but nobody told him that on movies you fake it. And in wrestling, they really do a lot of the stuff. But he shoved a check down my throat, and I couldn't stop him. I literally thought I was going to die.
God, that would be a sad way to go.
And apparently, John Cameron Mitchell is an uncredited extra in a crowd scene.
What?
So, yeah, sure.
Whoever playing 6 Degrees of Separation, you got a good killer there.
Hulk Hogan and somebody else is like, what? Yeah.
Hey! Are you looking for a little escape? Want to see something
This is sick!
you don't see every day. Are you ready for a whole new Hulk Hogan? Hulk Hogan is ripped. To the world, he's a hero. But to this man, he's history. Zeus. Get ready for the battle no ropes can hold. No ring. No referee. No rules.
Gentlemen, it's time.
No holds barred.
This is an unprecedented display of strength and determination.
But that is all the trivia I have. LaToya, as our guest, would you like to go first with your initial thoughts for No Holds Barred?
I guess I already spoiled them. It's like, it really is a movie made by people who don't know how to make movies. There's like a portion of the movie where just Hulk Hogan's not in it.
Oh, yeah. There's like a good 30 minutes where they're just like, oh, shit.
And then the whole, and now we are in love with him and Samantha. That whole, that love story.
There's literally a line where he's brought in, which of the first thing I thought, I was like, do you have any clothes besides your ring attire? I don't understand. But he's just like, can we talk? Oh, hell yeah. He's just like, can we talk about something else? And Samantha's like, fine, we'll talk about something else. We'll talk about this over dinner tonight. And I was like, wait, what? You just ask him out at a board meeting?
As he is, of course, sexually harassing her, like, in their first meeting.
Yeah.
Because he's such a great guy. Mm-hmm. He does charity. Yeah, it's a garbage movie, and I wish I was watching Over the Top again.
Yeah, I will let you know my reactions to that. But I mean, the first 30 minutes, I mean, he's arm wrestling people. He's trying to win his son back. It's a great time so far. But
I will say that's a movie that could have used some polishing from Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon on the ending, because essentially it ends with like, we're all triumphant. It's like there's still like a huge custody issue at hand that we're not addressing.
Who cares? Slice Stone won the match. It's fine. Speaking of the ending of this, it's just like Hulk Hogan killed a guy. Like,
I wasn't sure if he was like unconscious or fully dead. Like, I wasn't sure about that.
I mean,
also, I mean, I talk about Fuller. I mean, Lister could be dead too. I mean, who knows? Like, if that fall could have killed him, but like,
I think Fuller was going to go to prison anyway for the number of people he was having Zeus kill on TV anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, probably like attempted kidnapping, which the movie forgets about at some point.
Oh, that's fine.
The numerous attempted kidnappings, and it's just like when he's told like the only rule is you don't kill anyone. It's like, and then Zeus is like, I'm just gonna kill people. I'm like, okay, we'll put that on TV.
Yeah. What fucking TV company is this?
It's TBS/TNT.
Yeah. What is the thing that they go? It's like Battle of the Tough Guys, and I'm just
I'm like, couldn't do another pass.
I mean, that sounds like it's written by people that don't know what wrestling is, and I don't know if that's trying to be a joke of these guys like
people
don't
who
know
are
anything.
Up, and they're like, this is the script now.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if that's supposed to be a joke that they don't know, but I was like, Battle of the Tough Guys. That doesn't feel very intimidating at all. Charlie, initial thoughts?
I mean, we were talking about this beforehand, but I watched this movie 2 nights ago, and it's so disposable that like half of it is already gone from my brain. I guess like we all know Hulk Hogan is an absolute garbage person now, and when we're recording this in the year 2024. But like just watching this movie, I was at least like, well, at least I'll understand like how he. Like, at least this movie will give me an idea as to, like, what his persona was like or why people were drawn to him in some way. And it's just, like, he has the most abrasive, like, just, like, screen presence. Like, and like, it just, I don't know anything about wrestling. I was not raised, I genuinely, it's just not, I've never really been exposed to it in any way. My parents basically shielded from it from me as a kid, but I do remember Hulk Hogan very much being a thing. And then I knew this movie was gonna be terrible, and I know its reputation, but I was just like, what is it? Genuinely, like LaToya, Kevin, like what is it about Hulk Hogan that made him such a star back then? Because I don't get it. Like
he was like the ultimate like Superman good guy. He was truly like, he would tell people and kids like, say your prayers and eat your vitamins. Of course, they didn't know the vitamins were steroids at the time, and the
Yeah.
prayers were racial slurs. But yeah, it's literally, it was like the beating heart of like America. That was his whole thing. Like his music was literally "I am a real American" that he came out to.
Yeah. And yeah, on top of that, knowing how just terribly racist he is, more so than ever now, and the whole thing with as we mentioned, that the film is about him fighting a black man, and just that doesn't sit well at all. Yeah, it just, the whole thing is just gross.
It was less of a racial fight than anything in actual wrestling ever has been.
Yeah.
It's pretty much in the description. Because they could have done that, and maybe made Tiny do like a quote unquote African accent to really sell that it's us versus them.
All he can say is his name, because he's a simpleton,
It's just garbage. I mean, like, there's nothing like. I found the first 10 minutes kind of amusing, where it was just like he got kidnapped by a limo driver and it was this awful fight scene. But then, once the romance starts, it's just like, okay, this is just unpleasant and not and everything. It just kept, it's 85 minutes long and it's fucking interminable. And like, it's... I mean, this movie was never going to be made for me, a very gay cinephile who knows nothing about wrestling whatsoever. But at the same time, I was like, oof, yeah, it's rough going.
And it's not just he gets kidnapped. It's he gets kidnapped, and then the next scene, he's in a meeting and does not mention that it happened. It's never mentioned that it happened.
I also love that it's like a chase scene that happens in a barely populated suburban neighborhood. Like,
but like the driver still can barely stay on the road because he's so startled apparently by Hulk Hogan kicking the back seat or kicking the back of his front seat. Yeah, it's so weird.
And then like the fight scene happens. My favorite part is he picks a guy up and sticks him through the sunroof, and the guy's legs just go limp, but his legs are sticking out of the sunroof as if like he got knocked out.
I will say, him jumping through the roof of a car is pretty dope.
That was fun. Okay, that's where like my half star comes from of the 1 star today, and my other half star is like, well, it is a motion picture. There were cameras, like
there were cameras. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that qualifies it.
Yeah,
there are recognizable actual actors in this movie.
Yeah, there certainly are. Everything involving that bar is like really terrible and like horribly, like the stereotypes of everybody that is depicted here is just awful. Like,
I was like, I could tell Vince McMahon was slapping his thigh every time that like waitress was like, like flemming it up. I'm like, he thought that was hilarious. He's like, add more of that.
Oh yeah, women are horribly, like, at one point women are beaten up. At one point a woman is picked up by her face. I was just like, Jesus, like even the so bad they're like, there's some movies that are just like, you have to see it. It's so bad it's good. But like the stuff here, that it's not even campy. It's just ugly and really upsetting at times. So yeah, it's garbage.
Well, when the Suits walk into that bar, she tells them that actually the gay bar is down the street.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
Which is
because they're wearing tuxedos?
No, they're just wearing suits.
Just suits? Yeah. Like, oh, God.
Everybody knows anybody wears a suit as a homosexual.
Yeah, and then later, one of the wrestlers just, like, totally, like, stares at their dicks while they're at the urinal. Like,
that's the whole thing.
Yeah. Really funny.
I don't really have initial thoughts other than the movie bad, but I do want to talk about just Hulk Hogan as a wrestler, because he is somebody that there's rumors that by the time this comes out, it already happened. There's rumors because he has said that he might show up to the Royal Rumble this year. This man has been wrestling since like the early 80s, and he has not changed his wrestling style since the 80s. So he's a not good wrestler. And obviously with age, it gets even more apparent. Now, in the 90s, when I was watching and WCW was a big thing and he turned heel, that shit was dope. But then you watch the matches and you're like, he's still doing a boot to the face and a leg drop. This is boring as shit. Like, especially when you got people like Eddie Guerrero at their prime doing shit. But yeah, Hulk Hogan as a wrestler also ages terribly. So it's like, throw everything out.
Yeah, the clip you showed me of Hulk Hogan wrestling when I guess it was when he turned heel. I know very little about wrestling, like Charlie, but like that clip you showed me, it was like, even like then when you're saying it's like entertaining to watch, it was like, it looks like he's not even doing like it looks like he's doing like a rehearsal for like the wrestling and everything, like the way he's like kind of half-heartedly going through like the moves and everything. It doesn't even look like a dress rehearsal. It looks like, I don't know, I guess we'd like do it like this and everything, but I'm not gonna do like the real thing. I'm gonna save that for later and everything. But instead they just like did it like at the show or whatever in front of hundreds of people. Yeah, it's very weird.
Yeah, as terrible as he is, that bash at the beach when he turns heel is pretty fucking awesome. It's pretty dope.
I did like the bit that you showed me where it's like the ref like gets like manhandled. He's like, hey, I'll call my lawyer.
Yeah, that's Mean Gene. Mean Gene kicks ass.
Yeah.
But Brighton, initial thoughts.
This was very bad. I think LaToya, you mentioning the fact that there are actual actors in this movie, you know, like, I mean, that like you could tell like that there's at least like some performance in an attempt to like ham it up a little bit. Like Kurt Fuller, while he's like extremely cartoonish, he does seem to be at least having a bit of fun, like tearing into the scenery, like, you know, slamming tables and like, you know, screaming at people and everything. Like, it is like, I mean, it gets wearing after a little bit because there really is just no character except the fact that this guy's just evil.
Yeah.
But it's like, at least like, it's better than like Hulk Hogan, who is, you know, just like kind of doing the same thing over and over again. And you're right, Charlie, that this isn't like very fun too. It does have like kind of a mean-spirited, like bully sense of humor and everything. Like, it's not enough that he like beats the guys up. He also makes them shit themselves and laughs at them for it.
Yeah.
And like,
that's Vince McMahon's sense of humor.
Gosh, yeah. And then like, yeah, you're right. Like the creepy romance subplot, which is like, which starts like off with like a scene of harassment, escalates even further with like the hotel room scene where like, you know, he's like, he makes the bed collapse and she accidentally falls into it, but then like he's making quips about how like he's making her feel bad for the situation, even though he directly caused the accident. You should stay on
your side of the bed or something. It's like the lamest, most awful. Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah, it sucks. And then, like, not just like the optics of like the Zeus character and everything, where it's like, it really does, like, it does beg the question of like, why like his character, like, I mean, like, it's not good. It doesn't speak well of the movie that like it doesn't really come up with like a good reason for why his character is like so bad, other than the movie tells us and everything. Like, you know, it's like, yeah, he accidentally killed a guy and everything, and it's like, okay, like that's not great and everything, but it's like, you know, the movie's like, you know, holds that against him forever. It's like, well, there's no chance for forgiveness for this guy.
If the movie had any sense of knowing how to write a movie, he would be the one responsible for Rip and Randy's parents' death. He would be the one who killed them. That makes sense. Then there's a personal vendetta between the two.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, just also the way the movie like cuts between them and everything, like, you know, it's like really hard-edged music, and like when you get the montage of like, you know, Zeus working out and everything, but it has like nice and gentle, like meditative piano music for when Hulk Hogan is working out and everything. It's just like, give me a fucking break. Like, it's so obvious. Like, the action scenes aren't like, I mean, like, it also just like, yeah, it doesn't feel like, you know, like the movie really has like any sort of momentum and anything, because he will just like forget like the plot events, like the kidnapping, or like when Joan Severance is attacked in her parking garage, or, you know, it just, it doesn't really seem to have like all that much weight to it. Yeah, no, the humor, the jokes are bad, the performances are one note, the action isn't exciting, and it's just all around not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At one point I paused where I was like, fuck, I have to be like halfway through this thing, and I had an hour left, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
Apparently Buff Bagwell was in this movie. I did not see him. LaToya, did you clock Buff Bagwell in
No,
this?
and I tried to look at my phone as much as possible watching this.
Mm-hmm.
You missed so much. Yeah.
I did see a guy who looked like Judah Friedlander fell on hard times wearing a Shit Happens trucker hat.
Oh,
and I was like,
yeah.
that's fascinating. That seems like something from a more fun movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's also weird too how like the ordinary, like how everyday people in this movie are portrayed and everything. Like, you've got people like Hulk Hogan, who are rich, polite to children, I mean, you know, like they care about kids and they claim to want to do the right thing. And then you have ordinary people who enter this fighting match and they're like barely able to speak, and like they don't look like they made the days. It's just like it's crazy. It's like so offensive and everything. Just like how like it makes these people like it's like, oh, this guy's a trucker. Apparently we're gonna make him look like the biggest piece of shit possible and everything. It's just like so. It's so mean.
And then in the final fight, it's like a black tie affair. It's it's like one of those underground fight clubs where like the rich are waging on like their slaves to fight, basically. And it's like, is this on TV as well?
Yeah.
Is this a TV
the
show?
Cuts out at one point, I think. Like they show that, and it's like Fuller. It's like at that point, like Fuller should just give up trying. Like to...
Yeah. Also, Hulk Hogan goes to French restaurants for some reason so they can make snail jokes.
Oh my god, these accents.
Yeah. At one point, I nearly expected Mr. Creote from Monty Python to just show up and be puking in the background. Like...
All for a joke to be like, actually, I go to French restaurants. It's like, okay, Hulkster.
Yeah, and then
You
don't
win.
they have a thing where they're just like, we have snails, and they're like, absolutely not, or something? Like, it's just so dumb. It's just, yeah.
That restaurant reminded me of the fancy restaurant that they always go to, and It's Always Sunny.
Yes.
For a second, I thought you were also going to say that Freddy got fingered.
This is a fancy restaurant.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, buddy. I'm almost bereft of things to talk about with this movie.
I mean, I took, unfortunately, so many notes, so we have to get
Please.
Yeah, please.
mileage out of this bullshit.
Hell yeah.
I didn't know, so I've not watched this, obviously. I know about this movie a lot. I've listened to the How Did This Get Made episode.
There you go.
Of this movie. So like I knew like a lot of these things are like they came up, you know, like the Dookie thing. I was like, oh wow, that was in the back of my brain from finally watching it.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea Mark Pellegrino plays Rip's younger brother, and I'm like,
Yeah.
well, okay, and they're adult orphans.
Yeah.
I'm like, actually, how old is his brother
Adult.
supposed to be?
I don't know. He looks like a teenager, but he has the face of like a 30-year-old. I don't
Yeah,
know.
Hogan was like 24, I think, when this comes out. So, but
Something like
yeah,
that.
it's like there is like awkward scenes how they try to make the brother important and everything. Where like Hulk Hogan like greets Joan Severance in like the limo. Says like, "Hey, want to meet my brother?" And then the guy says like, "Hey, nice to meet you." Anyway, bye.
Named him Tiny Tim instead of Randy, honestly.
He is Tiny Tim.
I don't know who that black man is, that old black man who was with them. Is he his trainer? His coach?
Oh, right. He has a weird bit of exposition about, like, you know him? And he was just like, I trained him once. And then that never comes into play.
Every time he showed up, I'm like, I don't know who you are.
Yeah. There's no need for him to be there.
You just need the brother. And the brother's girlfriend? Because there's also another girl who's there sometimes, and it's his girlfriend, I think. And then there's his friend who looks like Peter Berg, and it was stressing me out.
Yes.
Was it Peter Berg?
That is a guy who has shown up in 2 movies we've covered this miniseries.
I thought it was just 976 Evil, but it's possible he's been in more. But we said the exact same thing when we were like, this guy looks like Peter Berg.
Yeah, because I've been watching Chicago Hope. So literally, as soon as I saw him, I'm like, is Peter Berg in this movie? And I looked everywhere. It's like, apparently that's not Peter Berg.
No, that is... Oh, goodness, what is his name?
It's Patrick O'Brien is his name, because I had to figure this out.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that... Oh, he was in Relentless as well, which we covered. And then he's in the sequel of 967 Evil, which I watched. So I've watched like 4 movies with this guy. He's going to be like my most watched actor on Letterboxd for this bullshit.
Wow.
But yes.
Let's see. Of course, let's see. Rip's word is his bond. He has no prize. He has a contract, so he's not going to jump over to this Ted Turner insert, as opposed to the real Hulk Hogan, who jumped to the actual Ted Turner because of money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then was able to be like, yeah, we're going to do whatever the fuck I want. And then whenever you can throw me away, I'll just go back to WWE. And then when y'all don't want me, I'll go back to TNA. And then I'll just go back to WWE.
Yeah.
Oh, also the movie begins with basically the people running the TV studio holding up a picture of Hulk Hogan and going, "This is what people want." I was like, not me.
Everybody wants him.
Also, like Kurt Fuller, like in frustration, like throws his remote against the wall, but then that somehow makes like all the TVs in his boardroom like go out with static. It's like, that's a strong throw.
Oh, the winner will receive $100,000 tax free.
Ooh, easy.
Yeah.
Several men died for
I know
this,
it was.
okay?
I know it was the '80s, but Jesus,
They weren't supposed to die. That was part of the rules. They changed up the rules. The music was for this movie was done by Jim Johnston, who was like the guy who made like all the wrestling themes in WWF back in the day.
Hell yeah.
People are always like, they need to bring Jim Johnston back, or like, why can't Jim Johnston, work elsewhere? And things like, because his music here is awful.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
honestly, he had like a shtick, and he definitely did not evolve for 2024. I can tell you that.
No.
There's no way that man evolved for 2024. Like, oh my god, the music in this was so awful, and the specific cues for the music were so awful.
Oh yeah.
It definitely
In the diner or wherever they were.
Oh yeah, the diner, especially, that's supposed to be like a moment. The diner, I'm glad you brought that up, because like that's a moment that's meant to make like Hulk Hogan like, oh, he's a man of the people and everything. But like he like makes that diner, he wrecks that diner probably way worse than the thieves who break in probably did. Like it probably would cost so much money to fix all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's unrelated violence to the other violence that happens.
Yeah.
In this movie.
Well, every scene of this movie basically starts with one character being like, wow, what a nice day it is today. And then it just ends with like, ah! like, ah! Like every scene is just a bit shrill and abrasive and like, just, oh, this is just unpleasant.
Yeah. And I said Kurt Fuller, if he didn't die, probably would have gone to prison, for all the deaths. But like, he would have at least gotten away with all the kidnappings, because it's not like they ever followed up to see if he was actually responsible for them. Like nothing. Like the one guy in the second time when he's trying to kidnap Samantha, I think he said like, yeah, this is from Kurt Fuller or whatever. But like, Kurt Fuller's just like, I didn't hire him.
Yeah.
Like, no one's following up on these things. It's like at no point in like after a kidnapping attempt or do they go to Kurt Fuller. It's like, hey, don't do this.
Yeah. Also, you find out you find out that she's a spy, which what a shocker. But like, I think I thought at one point, yeah, bad spy. I was just like, this makes like the Mr. Deeds romance between like Winona Ryder and Adam Sandler look like something out of like.
Hey,
Well, that's great. That's a great
Yeah.
romance.
Yeah,
First
it is
of
an
all.
amazing romance.
That is so okay.
Yeah. Does this movie take place in Winchesterton Fieldville, Iowa?
It must, because like, where is it supposed to take place?
Yeah, that was something I consistently
city.
asked. Yeah, but then they're in suburbia when they're driving like out of the studio.
that's called the small city. It takes place in Movieville. Yeah, they don't. It's not going to get arrested for kidnapping because, before the PC police took it over, it wasn't called kidnapping. It was called taking your friend out on a drive. But now it's called kidnapping all of a sudden. Apparently, it's illegal to drive around with one of your best friends. Yeah. I will say, can we do a ranking of, like, white guys with do-rags? Like, where does Hulk Hogan rank into all of that? Because we also got Vince McMahon as well.
They
and
both
Eminem.
belong at the bottom,
Okay, so Eminem's probably at the top.
basically.
I will say his outfit, the navy blue and the white, it was kind of for a Hulk Hogan attire. Looked kind of dope.
Okay, so obviously we said Eminem at the top. Nowadays, Justin Timberlake, no, bad. But at the time, as a tween, I was feeling
yeah.
it. I'll admit it. I was feeling his cornrows. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I'll admit it.
I don't know why I skimmed through Justin Timberlake's new single that came out today. I was just like, what am I, 18? Not good. LaToya, do you have any other notes?
See some gay panic.
Yep.
God, this sucks. That's just as soon as they got to the bar. God, this sucks.
Yeah.
Hopefully the scene is very short. 30 minutes later, we're still here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Battle of the Tough Guys. I'm like, this is so much time without Rip.
Rip, that's gotta be the worst wrestler name like up there, dude. I mean, even like the tag team of the early 2000s where they just had two women and they called them the lesbians. Like that's
Holy crap.
Yeah, that happened.
yeah.
Oh God! What about also the scene where Tommy Lister Jr. like completely turns a gym into like what is basically a fun house where he has projectors of like himself on like double-sided mirrors at one point.
I'm guessing that the network goons did that.
But like, yeah, but like, like he attacks the mirror as if he's there and then just sees the projector. I'm like, you would just see a fucking projector like projecting shit there. It wouldn't
So-
be. It would like.
Zeus is called an ex-con, but based on his attire, he escaped prison. He is still like got his prison jumpsuit on.
He is
the
on the
number is
run.
there.
Yeah.
He's not an ex-con. He's still a con.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, at the end, Samantha has the easiest escape ever. Yes, they start chasing her, but like she really was just like do.
Oh my God.
Out of the room.
And then they keep cutting back to her in the elevator when she's like, stupid fucking elevator. And it's just like, there's nothing happening. It's just being an elevator.
That's what the 72 hours was taking up. They were like, what do we do with Samantha? Okay, we got an elevator. Okay, we got this.
Now let's talk over the top. Some real cinema.
I mean, you go right ahead. You sell the folks. I mean,
I'm just saying. So you see how Hulk Hogan looks in this movie.
Yeah.
Sylvester Stallone, it looks the opposite. He looks great. He looks amazing. It's like probably the best he's ever looked, actually.
Wow.
I do believe he co-wrote the movie. And who directed it, Bryden? It was the guy who...
Menahem Golan, right? Who was like one of the founders of Canon Films, I think.
Yeah.
Because I was so excited when I thought that was what we were watching, because I was like, I saw Canon Films. I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be the good stuff. And it was the good stuff, unlike this movie.
Yeah.
When we were talking about Over the Top, I mentioned to Kevin and Charlie that I knew one of the things I think about when I think about that movie, without having seen it, is the video. I think it was like the Hollywood Reporter asked a bunch of people who had movies at TIFF back in 2018 what movies made them cry. And Ryan Gosling, who was there to promote First Man, said Over the Top. And then Claire Foy's like, why that movie? He's like, I don't know, just gets me. And it just slides the one to climax and like breathing his arm down. Very fun.
I will say it does have one of the greatest posters of all time.
It's also got some musical stylings of Frank Stallone. You don't got that here in No Holds Barred.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
It did make me think, like, as someone who knows nothing about wrestling, like, the only wrestling movies that I can think of that I've seen off the top of my head are, like, sad wrestling movies, like The Wrestler and The Iron Claw very recently. And
I
I
don't
was
think
like...
this is a sad wrestling movie?
I mean, it's sad in other
different ways.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you tear up. It just makes you sad internally, yes.
Made me cry, but for a different reason.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe I'm watching this.
Yep. But, like,
I mean, Charlie, this is... Oh, sorry, go ahead, please.
No, I was just gonna ask, like, I mean, Kevin, LaToya, anyone really, like, Bryden, what are good wrestling movies that are, like, actually, like, this is clearly
Ready to
not
Rumble.
trained. Ready to Rumble? Okay.
Yes.
You want to finish that sentence before he just yells, ready to rumble?
No. Ready to Rumble. Check it out.
I was gonna say, because, like, obviously this movie's not trying to be high art, it's just trying to be fun, but even as, like, just a piece of, like, sports pulp, it's just miserable. So, like, yeah, Over the Top, obviously need to check that one out. Like, what are some other good ones, like, that...
See, Ready to Rumble is not trying to be high art, but it just is. That's the thing.
And,
remember-
yeah, it's not, but it's better than this.
Yeah.
It's also intentionally a comedy. I don't know what this intentionally is. I'm just gonna say the sad ones, obviously. The Wrestler, The Iron Claw, which is great also, so...
Yeah. My roommate was mentioning, because my roommate used to be into wrestling as a kid, he mentioned that there's a documentary called Beyond the Mat that he enjoyed at the time.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a more, based on what I understand, the documentary that's basically showing the more fucked up elements behind the scenes, from what I understand. But correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So...
And there's also Vice's Dark Side of the Ring documentary series. Yeah.
Yes. Bryden, you watched, what was it called? I was
Below the Belts. That's like about like sort of like lower level wrestling. That's like kind of it's like it was shot in like, according to our past guest and friend of the show, Scout Tafoya, who did a video essay on it. That movie was like shot in 1974 and then like shelved until 1980 and like barely released. But no, that's like a really charming movie. A lot of montages front loading that movie, which is kind of a problem. But no, like once you get kind of into the road movie energy, as they're going from like, you know, sort of like grimy wrestling match to one grimy wrestling match to another, it gets quite endearing. I also really like Night in the City, the Jules Dawson British crime movie where Richard Widmark is like a guy who has like a gambling problem, and to get himself out of debt, he decides to hitch himself to a giant wrestler. It does not go well for him. And also, like you mentioned, like Charlie, like sad wrestling movies. The one that I thought of, I completely forgot that I'd seen this movie. It's not good because I haven't seen it, but I haven't seen it in years. But Nacho Libre is a comedic wrestling movie. Sure, that does not play well now.
I mean, I love Jack Black, but yeah, I'm sure. I mean, it didn't get well reviewed at the time. I never saw that one, but I can only imagine. Yeah.
I'd also maybe recommend Netflix has a docuseries right now called The Wrestlers, which is set at Ohio Valley Wrestling in Louisville, Kentucky. And it's basically about Al Snow, former WWE and ECW wrestler, him running this small independent promotion and clearly being so behind in the times of what indie wrestling is, but okay. But most of the people watching this don't know that because they don't know wrestling. So, Heels was also good too on Stars, the Stephen Amell show. That was pretty good. The second season was better, but then Stephen Amell had to be a scab, and that didn't help the show's chances.
Oh, right. That was the show he scabbed for?
Yeah.
Oh.
Who was on that show? I know AJ Lee was on that.
Punk also.
Oh, okay.
What was the name of the wrestler that the principal and Billy Madison played? I don't know why.
Oh God,
was it like
I forget?
Oh yeah. I remember what you're talking about. I don't remember what his name was though.
Doesn't he come out at the end of that movie and just completely like in full wrestling garb and just like body slam somebody?
Okay, but who's the wrestler from Waterboy who's played by Big Show?
Okay, wait. Just to answer Charlie's question, I looked up Billy Madison. Revolting Blob is
Revolting Blob,
wrestling
of course.
name.
Yeah.
Played by Josh Mostel.
Yeah.
As far as there's much more documentaries in the Vice Dark Side of the Rings.
Oh, and Glow was a great show.
Glow was great.
Yes,
I do need to
love
watch that show.
Yeah. Wish it hadn't gotten canceled.
Yeah, it was bullshit. They already started filming. Probably, I think, finished filming. Who knows?
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh shit,
that sucks. And what was annoying too is like I think like sometime like during the pandemic, like maybe in 2021, I saw like Apple Plus had like some trailer for a show. It said like from the creators of Glow, and I'm like, really wish you could just give me another season of Glow rather than whatever
give
this
me
is.
The show Glow. That sounds like a good show for the creators of Glow.
But yeah, there's definitely a lot more documentaries and stuff like that I can recommend than feature films. But speaking of Rage Rumble, You Cannot Kill David Arquette, I thought was a fantastic documentary.
That was a great doc.
Yeah. That was great. Let's please wrap this up. My brain is just hurting from talking about No Holds Barred.
You did this.
I did do this. I'm very sorry, but not really. Final thoughts on No Holds Barred. I know we are itching we want to get the very last little bit of crumbs that we got of this movie. Do we recommend it? No?
You know, it's a thinker. I think I'm leaning towards no.
Yeah, this is definitely not the bright spot in Mr. Thomas J. Wright's filmography, let me tell you. Now,
I mean, you joke, that TV career sounds pretty good. I gotta be
Oh, yeah, the
honest.
TV career is
The Wire,
good.
Jesus. He directed episodes of The Wire?
Yeah. This is the same guy that did
Good thing, I guess.
Torchlight.
I guess everyone knows that this movie is the responsibility of like Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon, so like no one's being blamed for it, pretty much. Like they know whose fault it is.
Right. Exactly.
That's what they said leaving the theater. We know whose fault this is.
We know what you did. Like pointing at the poster of Hulk Hogan.
I will say that he's also just, you remove everything from it. Hulk Hogan does have some top tier tweets. I was showing Brian the one where he had the Ninja Turtles all to himself theater at 10 p.m.
The best Hulk Hogan tweet is the "Good night, jabroni marks who don't know a work when you work a work."
Don't work yourself into a shoot, brother. Yeah, I think about that often. Or he was just, there's several tweets.
It was during him using, because I remember when it happened, he was trying to defend some shitty TNA booking at the time, and he was trying to say this is because you're being worked, and then that's what came out.
He does have several tweets where it just says help and then no follow up whatsoever.
Good, there should be no follow up.
Okay,
there's the one where he says rest in peace to Bam Margera, who is still alive.
Oh my god.
Oh wow. Rest in peace to Bam Margera. Did he think that Ryan Dunn was Bam Margera?
It has to have been what it was.
I can.
He's like gone too soon, brother. See you on this other side. And Bam's like, I'm still alive. Thanks, but I'm still alive.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Almost Major. Please rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes. Please follow the pod on Twitter at Almost Major to keep up to date with what movies we will be covering in the future. Myself, I can be found on Twitter and Letterboxd at KevBonesy. Bryden can be found on Twitter at Bryden Doyle and on Letterboxd at JDoyle. Charlie can be found on Twitter and Letterboxd at CTNash91. Once again, thank you for listening.